Good morning. The birds will be making another pass, by the way, probably while I'm talking, but anyhow, it's my honor to welcome you all to the City of Windsor's annual Remembrance Day ceremony. It's good to see so many people brave the weather and come out to honor our fallen. We acknowledge that we are on the land surrounded by water and originally inhabited by the indigenous people, who this area since time has immortalized. This territory is within the lands honored by the wampum treaties and allied nations of that time to peacefully care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We acknowledge the past and present of the Three Fires Confederacy, namely the Ojibwe, Chippewa, the Odawi, and the Potawatomi nations. We are dedicated to honoring indigenous military and culture while we remain committed to moving forward respectfully with all First Nations. Parade Marshal.
Sir!
Prepare to march on the colors.
Sir! Color Guard Commander, prepare to march on the colors.
As able, please rise for the colors and remain standing for the singing of the national anthems of the United States and Canada. This year, the anthems will be sung by Larissa Geniak. Parade Marshal.
Color Guard Commander, march on the colors.
Our national anthems.
Pray! Present! Our...
When you're ready.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, carton brasse porte le plaie, il se porte la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée, tes plus brillants exploits
Thank you, Larissa. Please be seated. At this time, I'd like to call upon Reverend Olaf Kitchen for his invocation.
Let us pray. God of peace, on this solemn day of remembrance, we gather at this cenotaph to honor those who served and all who sacrificed for justice, freedom, and peace, remembering those who served from Windsor and across our country, who stood for what is right at great personal cost. We remember those who returned, carrying wounds of body, mind, and spirit. We remember families who waited, prayed, and mourned. We remember those who continue to serve today in places of danger and unrest. May our remembrance strengthen our resolve to work for a community where dignity is upheld, where the vulnerable are protected, and where peace is pursued with courage and wisdom. Bless this act of remembrance, that it may shape our lives toward compassion, justice, and hope. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Today, we gather not to mark another day on the calendar, but to honor the extraordinary courage and sacrifice of those who gave their lives in service of our nation. Remembrance Day is a solemn reminder of the cost of freedom, a cost borne by the brave men and women who stood in defense of our values, our families, and our future. We have several beautiful monuments located throughout our city. Each name etched on the monument, each flag placed on a grave, represents a story of selflessness and valor. These individuals were more than soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. These men and women were parents, siblings, friends, and some of our neighbors. They dreamed like we dream. They loved like we love. And they hoped like we hope. So as we stand here today, let us not only remember their sacrifice, but also reflect on the responsibility it places on each and every one of us. To honor their memory, we must strive to live lives worthy of their sacrifice, lives filled with purpose, unity, and gratitude. As we enjoy the freedoms of this day, let us pause to remember. Let us teach our children the true meaning of this day, and let us commit ourselves to building a future that honors the sacrifices of the past. At this time, I would like to call upon Lieutenant Commander Chris Elliott to introduce our guest speaker.
Good morning. Thank you to our veterans and our community for their show of support here. I am reminded today that there are members of our local reserve units who are deployed around the world. And seeing this level of support for our community that you show for our veterans reassures me that they will get the same welcome when they return home. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming our reviewing officer, a Kingsville native returning to visit with us today. Captain Navy Jeremy Sampson grew up near Kingsville, Ontario, and joined the Royal Canadian Navy Reserves in June 2000 as a Marine Engineering Systems Operator at HMCS Hunter. In September 2001, he took his commission and transferred into the regular force as a Naval Warfare Officer. During the early 2000s, Captain Sampson sailed primarily with HMCS Iroquois, with brief attachments to HMCS Ville de Quebec and Athabascan. This period included multiple deployments to Europe and the Mediterranean in support of NATO maritime operations. to the Middle East in support of Task Force Arabian Sea, as well as multiple rotations in support of Operation Kareem. After having served in the Atlantic Fleet and HMCS Iroquois for over a decade, Captain Sampson was posted ashore as Operations Room Officer Course Instructor in 2013. In 2014, he was posted inland to the Directorate of Naval Operations and Plans as a staff officer, and in 2016, he was posted to Director of Military Careers as a career manager. In 2018, he assumed command of HMCS Kingston and Halifax and deployed to the Arctic as part of Operation Nanook, and to the Western Africa as part of Operation Projection. In 2019, he assumed the duties as Executive Officer of HMCS Toronto, and subsequently in 2020, he returned to National Defence Headquarters and the Directorate of Military Careers as a section head. In October 2023, Captain Sampson moved to west to assume command of HMCS Calgary in Esquimalt. In May 2024, he assumed command of HMCS Regina and deployed to the Arctic in support of Operation Limpet in July. In the summer of 2025, Captain Sampson was promoted to his current rank and returned to Ottawa to assume duties as Director of Naval Personnel. Captain Sampson is a graduate of Joint Command and Staff Program, holds a master's degree in Defence Studies from the Royal Military College of Canada, and a bachelor's degree in Maritime Studies from Memorial University of Newfoundland. Captain Sampson resides in Stittsville, Ontario with his wife and 2 daughters and their 2 dogs. Thank you.
Good morning. As we gather here at the Essex County War Memorial, I am deeply honored to stand before you on this solemn day of remembrance. Today, across Canada, we take a solemn pause to honor the more than 2.3 million Canadians who have served in uniform and the nearly 120,000 who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Windsor is a community standing united in gratitude. We remember not only those who fell on distant battlefields, but also those who returned home changed, and the families who bore the weight of their service and their unwavering commitment to peace. To our veterans, thank you for your courage, your service, and your commitment to our peace and security. To the families, your sacrifice is etched into the fabric of our nation. This year, we are especially moved by the story of Mrs. Nancy Payne of Lansdowne, Ontario, named Canada's 2025 National Silver Cross Mother. Her son, Corporal Randy Joseph Payne, was killed in Afghanistan in 2006 while serving in the Canadian Armed Forces. Mrs. Payne's strength and dedication to honoring her son's legacy reminds us of the enduring cost of service and the resilience of those left behind. Closer to home, we also remember Corporal Andrew Grenon, who died in the line of duty in 2008 and whose Silver Cross Mother Teresa is here with us today. Let us never forget that our freedom comes at a tremendous cost. It is paid for in lives lived in service and families forever changed, and in communities like ours that choose to remember their sacrifices, both those past and those ongoing. So I ask you to share the stories of our veterans and to carry forward the legacy of remembrance, not just today, but every day. Thank you. Merci et n'oublions jamais, lest we forget.
Captain Sampson, thank you for your service and for being with us today. We will now have the playing of the last post, the lament, followed by 2 minutes of silence, and the reveille. Please be advised that our silence will be broken by gunfire. Ladies and gentlemen, as able, please rise.
Pray! Reload! Gun! Escorts and armed units, shoulder and slow! Arm! Pray! Freeze out! Arm!
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Let's march in our unit, shoulder and slow! Arch! Pray! Order! Arch! Pray! Stand up! Eat!
Thank you. Please be seated.
Standing!
We will now commence with the tribute to our fallen. We'll begin with our Silver Cross mother, Teresa Charbonneau, on behalf of Corporal Andrew Grennan, with her husband Mike. On behalf of the federal government, MP Harb Gill and Kathy Borelli. On behalf of the provincial government, MPP Andrew Dowie.
I was going to call you up next.
Hold it together. Sorry.
I apologize, I was going to call up Lisa next, but she jumped the gun, so.
Better together.
Better together.
On behalf of the City of Windsor, His Worship Mayor Drew Dilkins. On behalf of the Royal Canadian Navy, Captain Jeremy Sampson and P.O. Hash Samin. Representing HMCS Hunter, Lieutenant Commander Chris Elliott, and CPO Mike Stadler. On behalf of the Windsor Regiment, Don Chisholm and Preston Roberts. On behalf of the Essex and Kent Scottish Regiment, Major Columba and Sergeant Major McCabe. Representing the 31st Service Battalion, Corporal Matthew Charbonneau. behalf of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Travis Fraser and Chris Barr. Representing fallen comrades, on behalf of her father, Charles Davis, who we lost this year, Terry Fitzpatrick, and her son, Lieutenant Ryerson Fitzpatrick. On behalf of the Korean veterans, Jerry Bissonnell. On behalf of peacekeeping veterans, Donna Parent. Representing Veterans Canada, UN NATO, Joe and Shelley Claus. Representing our Afghan veterans, Michael Barnwell. On behalf of the Canadian Vietnam veterans, Mike Susi. Representing number 2 Construction Battalion, Barb Porter. Behalf of Royal Canadian Legion Zone A1, Tom Friesen. Behalf of the Royal Canadian Women's Auxiliary, Cheryl Moore and Maureen Fracas. On behalf of the Royal Canadian Naval Association, Steve LaMarche. Representing the Navy League of Canada, Rhonda Bowering. Representing the Military Institute of Windsor, Colonel Patrick Dennis. Representing the Ministry of Patriots and Veterans Peace Ambassadors, Rachel Cody and veteran Vince Courtier. Representing the North Wall Riders Association, Dan Hayes. Pretty sure that's not Dan. On behalf of the Windsor Police Services, Chief Jason Blair and Deputy Chief Carl DeGraff. On behalf of Windsor Fire and Rescue, Chief James Waffle. On behalf of Essex County EMS, Chief Justin Lamars and Deputy Chief Slav Holzer. On behalf of the Border Services, Captains John McDonald and Mark Neese. On behalf of the Emergency Care Motorcycle Unit, Treetop. On behalf of Roger DeGuire, who passed away this year, and the Knights of Columbus Most Precious Blood Council 9645, Dot DeGuire, accompanied by Keith Tracy. On behalf of the Windsor Veterans Memorial Services Committee, George Rizek. And as always, we have honorary mentions for Reese from the Windsor District Labor Council, Alzheimer's Society of Windsor and Essex County, Cup W Local 630, CUPE Local 543, Unifor Local 195, 200, 245, and 444, National Association of Federal Retirees, the 107th Windsor Scouts Group, Essex County Chinese Canadian Association, Windsor Essex County Humane Society in honor of service dogs, and Elementary Teachers Federation and Millwrights Local 1244. Thank you all. Today, as every day, we pledge our commitment to remember. They were young as we were young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge amidst the winds of time to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them. This year we are once again pleased to welcome elementary students from our local schools to take part in our service. Explaining Remembrance Day to young children is essential in fostering empathy, sacrifice, respect, and a sense of community. Helping children learn the sacrifices made by those who served in war and peacetime efforts, and of course, the meaning of the poppy. Sometimes the smallest of flowers can hold the biggest meaning of all. At this time, I would like to call up from Immaculate Conception Catholic School, Leander and Paul. Representing St. Gabriel's Catholic Elementary School, Keegan and Alexander.
Thank you so much.
And from Dougal Avenue Public School, Ariana and Rahaf. Thank you all for writing these messages to our veterans and to their loved ones. I accept these treasures on behalf of the veterans and the City of Windsor and the Windsor Veterans Memorial Services Committee, and we will share them throughout the community. Thank you all for your hard work and for being here. At this time, I would like to call upon our special dignitaries and guests for a brief address. You guys got that, right? Yeah. On behalf of our Silver Cross mother, Teresa Charbonneau.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. It warms my heart every time I come to the cenotaph and look out and see the number of faces that come in support. You have no idea what it means to me. I hope that it means as much to you. Whether you know somebody personally, whether you had a neighbor, a friend, or just somebody that you heard of, somebody whose name you heard that makes you remember today. When I was thinking about what I would say today, two thoughts came to mind, and I dwelled on those thoughts and I thought about them and I read about them, and I looked up on Google. We all know that Google is there, and I found something written about each of the things that I want to say. And the words that I found they say it way better than I could have. So I'm going to read. And the first one is about thanking our veterans. I do not know your name, nor for which battle you died. I do not know your home, nor the tears that were cried. I do not know where you rest, nor the promises broken. I do not know your uniform, and your fears lay unspoken. But I know your spirit exists, that your courage is admired, and your sacrifice is honored by each soul that's inspired. And I offer you from my heart, thank you to guardians unknown for offering yourselves for us all, that we may keep freedom our home. The second thing that I was thinking about, and as I always think about as I get ready for this day, is the poppy, the symbol, the little tiny thing that we attach to ourselves just above our heart that say that we remember, that we treasure, and that we are truly Canadian and we have our freedom because of those who fought for it. So this is a poem entitled The Poppy. And I hope I can get through it. I am not a badge of honor. I am not a racist smear. I am not a fashion statement to be worn but once a year. I am not glorification of conflict or of war. I am not a paper ornament, a token. I am more. I am a living memory of a father or a son, a permanent reminder of each and every one. I'm paper or enamel, I'm old or shining new. I'm a way of saying thank you to every one of you. I am a simple poppy, a reminder to you all that courage, faith, and honor will stand where heroes fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. On behalf of the federal government, Hardgill, Kathy Borelli.
Thank you. Distinguished veterans and all who gather here today in solemn remembrance. We're here this morning not merely out of an act of tradition, but out of a profound and necessary duty. We are here to pause, to reflect, and most importantly, to remember those who answered the call of duty and made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. Today our thoughts are heavy with the memory of the brave Canadians who served in conflicts from the muddy fields of Flanders and the beaches of Normandy to the windswept hills of Korea, the volatile landscape of Afghanistan, and in countless peacekeeping missions across the globe. We remember those who never returned home and those who returned home forever changed by the horrors of war. Their sacrifice brought us the priceless gift of freedom and peace, the very foundation of our democratic society. We cherish. We owe them a debt that can never fully be repaid. The poppy we wear today is a simple, vibrant red reminder of the blood spilled for our future. We also honor the families who waited anxiously at home, bearing their own silent burden of fear and uncertainty. Their strength and resilience is as much a part of our national story as the bravery on the battlefield. And we extend our deepest gratitude to the current members, many here today, of the Canadian Armed Forces who continue to stand on guard for our values today. The act of remembrance calls on us, and I quote, "They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them."
We will remember them.
Our commitment to their memory must be active. To truly honor their legacy, we must strive every day to be worthy of their sacrifice. We do this by advocating for peace, by supporting our veterans in their transition back to civilian life, and by cherishing the democracy and freedoms they fought so valiantly to protect. As a member of Parliament, I pledge that I will never forget the cost of freedom we enjoy. Let us commit not only to remember their sacrifice today, but to carry the torch of service and work tirelessly for a just and peaceful world. Lest we forget.
I'll try to be brief.
She took a
Good
lot.
morning, all. On this Remembrance Day, we gather to honor the courage, the sacrifice, and the service of the men and women who have worn the uniform of the Canadian Armed Forces. I want to acknowledge and thank the veterans and the active service members here today, and the families who have supported them. I'd also like to thank the local officials and community leaders and all who have joined us today. Canadians owe a deep debt of gratitude to those who have defended our country at sea, on land, or in the air. Today, we reflect not only on the lives lost, but also on the quiet sacrifices made by those who served with honor and courage. The veterans have shaped this country we know and love. Their time in uniform instilled values that they carried into civilian life. And you know this, building strong communities and a better country for all of us. On behalf of the Parliament of Canada, I offer our heartfelt thanks to our veterans and their families. May we continue to build a country worthy of their sacrifice. Thank you.
From the provincial government, Andrew Dowie.
Thank you, Paul, and to the Windsor Veterans Memorial Services Committee, thank you so much for organizing this event, as you do all throughout the year with the 15 ceremonies that truly give a very respectful and emotional recognition of those who came before us, who served our country and never returned home. So today we gather to honor the courage, the sacrifice, and the resilience of Canadians who have served in uniform. We know that war is never truly distant. Its impact reaches deeply into the lives of families, of our communities, and our entire nation. Fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, and friends. We know many who've been killed in action. Those who returned carried physical and emotional scars that stayed with them for a lifetime. So for those of us who've been born in peacetime, it's very easy to feel removed from the realities of conflict. And really the stories that we get to learn are passed down from relatives, or found in books, through photographs, or by visiting historic sites. I was able to go to Canada House last year over in France at I want to say, I don't want to get this wrong, I believe it was Juno Beach. How moving it was to know when you saw that symbol that you were in for battle, and that you did not know if you were going to make it out again. Yet even these reminders, though powerful, they only hint at the courage, the fear, the determination that shaped the lives of those who served. And we must never, never forget that the freedoms we enjoy today, which is really our ability to speak, to vote, to gather, to live under a government of our choosing, that are protected through the selfless service of our veterans. Those who saw the world was going in a direction that we could not allow to continue. People wishing to dominate and tell you what you needed to do in life, to take away your choices, to take away your ability to live and to celebrate and to be with your family. Our Canadian men and women went into battle knowing that their actions really mattered, not only in their own time, but for generations to come. And we have this tremendous country that we get to live in because of their sacrifice, where you can be exactly who you want to be. You can have the career you want to have. You can celebrate the faith that you wish to celebrate. And we owe a great debt to those who have bravely served our country. And as we wear our poppies today, let us hold them close to our hearts and reflect on the cost and the courage of service. To all those who served and all who continue to serve, and to the families that supported them, we honor you and we thank you. We will remember them. We will remember them.
Lisa Gretzky.
I was the youngest of 3 children, the only girl, and I apologize. Sometimes I have rebellious tendencies. That's why I didn't follow the program earlier. Today, as we gather here in our community, we pause to remember, to truly remember, the men and women who have served and sacrificed for our country. Across Canada, in towns big and small, people are standing together in silence, just as we are, to honor the courage, the service, and the incredible resilience of those who fought for the freedoms that we all hold so dear. Remembrance Day is not only about looking back at history, but about carrying forward the lessons that it has taught us. It's about acknowledging that the peace and democracy we enjoy are never given freely. They were earned through bravery, through loss, through unwavering commitment to something much, much bigger than oneself. In Windsor and across this province, we are proud of our veterans, our reservists, and our military families. We are proud of those who continue to serve today, both here at home and around the world. We owe them not just our thanks, but our ongoing support, ensuring that when they come home, that they are cared for, respected, and never forgotten. As we stand in silence and camaraderie today, let us remember each name, each story, and each act of courage. Let us promise to honor them, not just in words, but in the way we build our communities, the way we care for one another, and the way we strive for peace every single day. And to everyone that's gathered here today that is attending their first Remembrance Day without a loved one, look around you and know that you are supported by community, that we are all thinking of you. You are in our hearts and minds, lest we forget.
Last but not least is Worship Mayor Drew Dilkins.
Let me Drew size this podium a little bit. There we go. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you again this year, and it's my distinct honor as mayor to represent City Council and to join with veterans and their loved ones, military members, students, and all Windsorites as we observe Remembrance Day in our community. We have a very special relationship with our veterans. Each year leading up to this day, we host many gatherings to commemorate significant battles, victories, and losses. We gather to honor them at the Vietnam Memorial, at the Korean War Memorial. We stand together at the Canadian and Afghanistan Peacekeepers Monument, the Red Beach Memorial at Dieppe, the Boer War Memorial, and so many more. And each year on November the 11th, we gather here for Remembrance Day to pay our respects to the collective efforts of all those who have served their country and continue to do so. When Veterans Affairs Canada visited the city of Windsor in 2022 to mark the 80th anniversary of the Dieppe raid, their team noted how our community honors its heroes. They told us that Windsor is special and that no one does it like us when it comes to honoring those who have sacrificed in the name of freedom. And I could not agree more. In 2020, during pandemic lockdowns, I wrote and presented a poem here at this service. There were a few less people here in 2020. It's called Scars of War. And it's the story of a young Windsor man who leaves home to serve his country during the Second World War and returns a changed man. The poem highlights how love, how understanding, how community can heal a broken spirit. And I dedicated the poem to the selfless men and women who fought to leave our world safer and better than they found it. I dedicate it to all those serving today and their families and loved ones. The fictional Jack in my poem was named after my own son. So it often hits me a little more than normal. But it inspired, and certainly was inspired, by so many of the veterans that I have met throughout my time as mayor. This year I wanted to do something special to honor the lives and the stories of our local heroes, and to support the ongoing work of the Windsor Veterans Memorial Services Committee, who organizes this service and all of the other services in our community all year long. And so I've published my poem as a book with beautiful illustrations by local artist Christy Litster. The book's available for $20, and I'm not at Remembrance Day having a sales pitch, but it's available for $20. All of the proceeds are going to go to Paul's group and all of the people you see standing here who put on all of the events throughout the city of Windsor all year long. And so they do a great job, folks. And so if you're interested in purchasing a copy, we're going to have them in the lobby of City Hall right after this event. So Paul told me, be brief, like he says every year, but I'll give you a little bit of wiggle room because you're doing something to raise funds for the Windsor Veterans Memorial Services Committee. So today, I wanted to share the poem with all of you, and this is called Scars of War. And again, it's about a fine young man who lives in a great community, who has wonderful people who live in that community. And at the end of this poem, the people that show up at the end of the poem, they remind me an awful lot of all of you. It's called Scars of War. This story is about a Windsor boy, well, really a man who had just graduated from high school, a man with a plan. This young man had energy, a good mind, a strong brain, no lack of confidence, or at least none he could feign. He was the proud captain of a high school football team, dating the sweetest girl in town, the one they called Prom Queen. He was a singer in musicals at Walkerville High School. His voice, second to none. Everyone thought he was cool. Those chiseled good looks and that $1 million smile will carry him quite a long way for quite a long while. From the outside looking in, this man was destined for success, but for a moment, please allow our story to digress. For this man was called to serve once diploma was in hand, and his service was far more than playing trumpet in the military band. Although service to his country had never crossed his mind, no finer physical specimen could the Canadian Forces find. In 1944, we were nearing the end of the Second World War, but at that time no one knew this. We just knew there would be more. Nazis advancing everywhere, wild like boars, more soldiers needed to settle the score. Suddenly, our young man named Jack was off to distant places, off to fight many battles in far unknown spaces. And as he prepared to leave home and walk out that front door, Mother fell to her knees on the hard kitchen floor, tears streaming from her face. Intuition settled deep inside her core. Dad fought back those tears. Men simply don't cry, although water sat decidedly in the bottom of each eye. Come back in one piece. We love you, son. We'll be waiting for you here. You come home when you're all done. And he hugged his son so hard, not wanting to say goodbye, for if he said that one simple word, he would surely start to cry. So with a stiff upper lip, he said, write to us often. Let your mother know you're okay. And come home soon, son. You stay out of harm's way. And off Jack went with the optimism of youth, the invincible young lad fighting for truth, facing an enemy on foreign turf with very little couth. And he fought. valiantly. Battle after battle, field after field, body after body, death after death. I don't think this war will ever end, Jack said under his breath. And then Hitler shot his soul next to a woman named Braun, and very soon thereafter, light chased away darkness and the sun once again shone. And the adrenaline of the fight turned from fear to delight as Jack was headed home to Windsor. It was the end of the war, 12 pages tore in the calendar since he'd left through that front door. No tears could be held back when Mother touched his face, but his parents knew in an instant the young man who returned to them was not in the same place. He looked much the same, a little older perhaps, but young Jack had no interest in seeing his old chaps, for the young man who was sent off to battle half a world away did not return as the same person on that sunny day. Their boy once had the world by the proverbial tail. Now he spent most of his time alone, drinking rye and warm ale. Some old friends told him to get out of his funk. Take a shower and shave, you smell like a skunk. The war is over, Jack. Move on with your life. Pull yourself together, said his next-door neighbor's wife. Of course, none of them knew it wasn't easy to heal the scars of war, for they were scratched across Jack's soul, deeply embedded in his core. It was impossible to erase the blood he had seen on bodies he had killed while caught in that war machine, never quite understanding how humans could be so mean. Mean to one another in a place so far away, Jack thought, please help me numb my brain just to get through this day. People called Jack a hero, awarding him medals galore, unaware they'd all sit neatly inside his top dresser drawer, for the sight of this medal hanging high on his chest caused Jack terrible nightmares and so much unrest. The memories they conjured couldn't be shaken from his head, death and destruction in a year full of dread, thoughts of how the world had gone totally mad. He couldn't talk to his mom, couldn't share his feelings with Dad, a feeling best described as much, much worse than sad. But as Jack rebuked all others, there was one for whom he dreamed. The girl with the smile over a year ago seen, the one he left behind, that high school prom queen. He longed to see her face and to tell her how he felt, but his mind kept thinking of that old black leather belt and how it might free him from the pain life had dealt. And she tried and tried and tried to reach her favorite man. There was no way she would ever give up on him, for she was his biggest fan. She could not bear the thought of watching him sink down. She needed a way to bring back his smile from the depths of his frown. So the prom queen rallied the troops in that place called Windsor City. She rallied the mayor, the paper, and others too, but not to show their pity. What Jack needed to know was they all understood his pain, that his service to our country had not been given in vain, that the scars of war unseen could be shared with tears and deep sorrow, so that all those Windsorites knew that what he had done was all for their tomorrow. And as the sun rose on Ypres Street early one November morn, the soul of our young Jack was about to be reborn. As he dusted off his eyes, already internalizing his pain, he heard a sound like no other. Jack knew not from where it came. Mom and Dad dropped their coffee and ran to the porch at the front, not knowing what type of menace they may have to confront. But to their amazement, reflected in the wide staring eyes, were 1,000 Windsorites coming with a loving Windsor surprise. Banners in one hand, horns and trumpets in the other. Everyone was there, leaders, strangers, veterans, and at least 500 mothers. As Jack stepped off the porch stunned, he soon did realize that everyone was there for him, or at least he did surmise. Yet they all seemed like strangers, and he thought, why are they here? Why are they yelling my name in an old-fashioned cheer? Then from the crowd, Jack suddenly noticed a group of his old friends. The guys from the football team were there flanking the ends. Old teachers, the mayor, and so many others had marched to Jack's house to show love for their Windsor brother. And from nowhere at all came the prom queen that year. She had organized this parade. That was so very clear. She would not give up on the love of her life, and he appreciated her so he so wanted her to be his wife. And just knowing that others could share in his pain gave Jack what he needed to rekindle his flame. That flame that burns deep in us all, that passion inside, helped burn down the walls within Jack that had become a mile wide. So decades later, in Windsor, through the words of the mayor, the story of young Jack echoes around the cenotaph in the crisp November air. Young Jack is here today. He's alive in our heart. His passion lives through all our soldiers in part. The veterans, the actives, the peacekeepers, and others, you're important to us all like Jack was to his mother. And if the scars of war are open to see, trust Windsorites to help you. That is our decree. If the scars of war lay deep inside, your mirrored reflection altered as if part of you has died, rest well knowing that people are there a whole community in the City of Roses who truly, truly care. And as our proud maple leaf flag flies high on that stem, November 11th and every day, we will remember them.
As is our tradition, we're going to play God Bless Canada. For most of you that have been here before, you will remember our brother Roger DeGuire sitting up front, singing this song loud and proud, generally out of key. And so today we play this song in honor of Roger as well as all the vets. And at this time, I would ask you to please stand. Thank you. Please be seated. Once again, I'll call on Reverend Olaf Kitchen for his benediction and blessing.
As we go from this place of remembrance, may the memory of sacrifice inspire us to live with courage. May the hope of peace take root in our hearts and in our land. May we honor our veterans not just with words today, but with lives committed to justice, freedom, and care for one another. We go in gratitude, we go in peace, we go with steadfast purpose. And we close with the words from the prayer book of a veteran from the Second World War, Jim Farrow. "O God, I beseech thee to watch over us." God bless you. Go in peace. Amen.
Thank you, Ola. Veterans, we thank you for our freedom, a freedom that was given to us by those we honor today. As our ceremony comes to an end, let us take a moment to acknowledge the veterans that are with us today. As able veterans, please stand or raise your hand so we can properly thank you. Thank you for your service. Today is a day for the people of our great city to join with all Canadians to thank you to those who have done so much for our country and to salute those who continue to serve today. On behalf of the Windsor Veterans Memorial Services Committee, we thank you all in attendance here today. Also, a special thank you to our class, our students, our future. Thank you for showing up and your gifts that will be distributed throughout to all the veterans. Also, a special thank you to Captain Jeremy Sampson, Lieutenant Commander Chris Elliott, as well as our Cenotaph Centuries and our military units represented here today. Thank you to our Silver Cross Mother, Teresa Charbonneau. To the Windsor Police Services, to be here today and for always having our six. To the Windsor Fire Services, the Honor Guard and the firing party. To our Parade Marshal, Ed McDowell. Lieutenant Ryerson Fitzpatrick for his excellent piping, and to Sergeant Jonathan Chafe for his bugling. We also wish to thank the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 255 Color Guard, to QP 543 for covering the fuel costs for the Warbirds flyover, to Bonnie Burian for organizing the wreaths, and to all my brothers and sisters in the Windsor Veterans Memorial Services Committee for their commitment here today. A special thank you to our federal, provincial, and municipal dignitaries, Harb Gill, Kathy Borelli, Andrew Dowie, and Lisa Gretzky. Also, a special thank you to Mayor Drew Dilkins, Christopher Menard, Sebastian and his crew, and all the City of Windsor staff for their ongoing commitment and support of our military community.